Have you ever watched something impossible slowly become reality? That's exactly what's happening here. This is where it all begins, the raw earth, untouched, waiting to be transformed into something incredible. At first glance, it might just look like dirt being pushed around. But every dig, every trench, every lifted piece of soil is part of a greater plan. These aren't just workers, they're the first layer of a legacy being built. And the most powerful part, none of this is glamorous. It's dusty, sweaty, and silent, but the deeper they dig, the more you realize they're preparing the way for something that's going to rise high and stretch far. Before we ever see a tower or a cable, this is where the real work happens beneath the surface. They're carving out the foundation, making sure the ground can hold up not just weight, but time, weather, and history. Now look closely, rebar grids are going in, heavy steel cages being set into place. Concrete won't hold on its own, it needs reinforcement. These frames are the unseen warriors. Once buried, they'll never be visible, but they'll carry everything above them. This is a perfect picture of life, too. The things that matter most, the things that last, are often built in silence, built in faith, when no one is clapping. This stage takes the longest and gets the least credit. Now you start seeing forms take shape, wooden molds, steel cages, temporary support beams. Slowly, the site begins to look less like a field and more like a plan in motion. And then the tar bases come into view. These aren't ordinary columns, they'll soon rise to support the cables that will hold the entire bridge. These bases must be perfectly aligned, perfectly stable, no room for error. What's amazing is that it still doesn't look like a bridge yet, but to the engineers, it's already there. They can see it before the rest of us can. That's what vision does, it builds with the end in mind. This is the part nobody celebrates, but without it, the rest doesn't happen. It's slow, it's precise, it's deeply necessary. The ground must be trusted before the sky can be touched, and this is just the beginning. Stay with me, we're only getting started. Now that the foundation is solid, it's time to look it up. This is where the project starts stretching toward the sky and the structure begins to earn its name. You can see cranes moving in, lifting the first tar segments. One by one, these massive steel or concrete pillars rise like skyscrapers in slow motion. They don't just look strong, they have to be strong. These towers will carry the full weight of the bridge deck, the cables, the vehicles, the people, everything. It's easy to miss just how much precision is involved here. Each segment has to be perfectly aligned. A single degree of error at the bottom could mean feet of misalignment at the top. That's why engineers measure, remeasure, and triple-check everything. Notice the scaffolding around the tower's temporary walkways, support beams, and safety nets. This isn't just construction, it's a carefully choreographed dance between man and machine. Everyone plays their part, everyone matters. And here's something most people don't realize: these towers don't just stand on their own, they're designed to transfer forces. Every load from the deck gets transferred through the cables into the towers and down into the foundations we saw earlier. It's one big chain of trust. You start to get a sense of the scale now. Workers look like ants next to the steel columns. But each one of them is doing something critical: tightening bolts, guiding cranes, securing platforms. It's teamwork at its highest level. And while all this is happening, preparations for the suspension system begin. You might see catwalks being strung across like delicate threads connecting the two towers. These aren't for decoration, they're essential for workers to install the main cables that will carry everything. Those cables are coming next, and they're not just wires, they're hundreds, even thousands, of steel strands bound together. Strong enough to hold a small city in the air. It's beautiful, really. What looks chaotic is actually ordered. What looks risky is actually calculated. These teams aren't guessing, they're executing a blueprint that's been tested, simulated, and proven long before ground was ever broken. This part of the project is where you realize this isn't just a structure, it's a statement. A message that says we can connect what was once divided. a symbol of what humans can do when they work together. And the best part, we're just halfway there. The magic of suspension is about to begin. Now we enter the most iconic phase of any suspension bridge, the moment when the cables come into play. And this is where the true magic of engineering meets the beauty of tension. The catwalks are already in place, stretching between the two towers like threads across the sky. You can almost feel the anticipation, the next step. Pulling the main suspension cables, those thick steel ropes that give this entire structure its name. These cables aren't installed in one piece. They're pulled across strand by strand, sometimes hundreds, even thousands of them, then bundled, compacted, and clamped into one powerful cable. It's like weaving steel into strength. You'll see massive reels slowly spinning, feeding the strands across the towers and anchoring them at both ends of the bridge. It's a slow, delicate operation. The tension has to be perfect, too tight, and it can snap. Too loose, and it can sag. Precision is everything. And once those main cables are secured, the next layer begins: vertical suspenders. These are the smaller cables that hang down from the main line and hold up the bridge deck. Think of them like ribs hanging from a spine, each one sharing the load. As these suspenders go in, you start seeing the framework for the road's surface emerge. They lift in deck segments massive steel platforms piece by piece, hanging them from the suspenders like ornaments on a perfectly measured grid. It's wild to think about, but this entire roadway is literally hanging in the air. No columns underneath, just tension, balance, and trust in the design. It's a floating path held by invisible physics and meticulous planning. And this part, it takes time. Every section must be placed, bolted, aligned. It's not enough to hang the deck, it has to be level, symmetrical, and strong enough to hold tons of vehicles day after day. You can feel the shape of the bridge now. The towers stand proud, the cables sweep like arcs in the sky, and the deck begins to stretch from one side to the other. This is the moment the project transforms from parts and pieces into something that actually resembles a bridge. It's a modern marvel and a tribute to the builders. They aren't just lifting steel, they're lifting connection, purpose, and legacy. And as the final segments near completion, we get ready for the last chapter: the polish, the surfacing, the reveal. The vision is almost real. And now, after all the digging, lifting, hanging, and aligning, we reach the final chapter. The bridge is in place, the cables are locked, the deck is hung, and it's time to make it all come alive. First up, surfacing. Those steel deck segments aren't ready for cars just yet. A team moves in to lay layers of road material, waterproof membranes, asphalt, markings, each one transforming bare structure into a smooth, usable road. Machines roll in to compact the surface. You can almost feel the weight of those rollers as they go back and forth, pressing the road into place. Everything has to be perfectly level because uneven roads mean stress on the structure, and no one takes chances at this stage. Next come the safety features: railings, guard barriers, lighting poles. You start to see the transition from construction site to public highway. It's not just about function anymore, it's about people, safety, usability, experience. From above, the bridge finally looks whole. The graceful arc of the cables, the straight stretch of the deck, the symmetry of every component, it's a masterpiece in steel, concrete, and human effort. But before anyone drives across, it has to be tested. Load testing begins. Heavy trucks are parked at different points to simulate weight. Sensors track stress, tension, deflection, the goal: confirm that everything holds exactly the way the design predicted. And once those results come back green, then and only then does the bridge open to the world. And what a sight it is! The first vehicle rolls across, slowly, then another, then hundreds. What was once just a vision drawn on paper has now become a lifeline between two lands. You think about all the workers who stood under the sun, in wind, in rain, month after month to make this possible. The welders, the crane operators, the planners, the surveyors. Every single one left a piece of themselves in this structure. And what's even more powerful, most of the people who will use this bridge will never know the story. They'll just drive across, honk the horn, and keep going. But you, after watching this, you'll know. You'll remember what went into this. This bridge isn't just concrete and steel, it's proof. Proof of what human beings can do when they dream, plan, and don't give up. And now that it's complete, it stands, not just as a connection between two places, but as a symbol of what's possible when we build with purpose.